Welcome everybody. They're still doing the opening invocation, so it might be 10-15 minutes before the race goes live. Chandler said he's made it to the Xfinity Series in NASCAR 25 with a great 4th place finish at Daytona. That's pretty good. Pretty good for starting off. I don't think our race at Daytona went very well in our Xfinity opener. I don't remember exactly where I finished. I just had a couple really good races. I still don't have maxed out equipment, like level 5 and with a mix of lower level parts. And I got a top 5 and then a 3rd place in my last 2 races in Xfinity. Yes, welcome. Currently sitting at 81 people. We're doing the national anthem right now. Jordan Kirby said, who's going trick or treating tonight? Yeah, not myself. NASCAR decided we're going to race on Halloween. And that means I am ruled out for all Halloween activities. Yeah, we're going to have to grind a little bit more. That's for sure. I may, even after it comes out, I may finish my career on PlayStation before I completely transfer over. Am I going to go show the race footage? Not the live broadcast, but I do show highlights. So if we get a caution, I usually try to pull that up, or, anything major, just to show you guys what our setup is. Whenever we get any kind of highlights, we pull them open here on Twitter, and gives us a good look at different angles, different stories, what people are saying on social media. And the rest of the time we'll be watching this running order screen. Speaking of the running order, let's go ahead. The M&M's commercial on right now. Let's go ahead and look at our running order. So this is kind of disappointing for me. Lane Riggs starting P1. Lane Riggs, he got eliminated from the postseason at Martinsville, tied. So he lost the tiebreaker to Caden Honeycutt, I believe. And now Lane Riggs is on the pole. So it's a what could have been day for Lane Riggs. He's been the 2nd best guy all year, and he doesn't have a chance to run for the championship. Craftsman's last ride. That's right. Or if we get a Honeycutt championship, it would be wild. So somebody was saying they want Honeycutt to win the championship by not winning. Who are we going for? Just for the sake of purity, Corey Heim is the deserving champion. Outside, Lane Riggs can't run for it. So yeah, it's Corey Heim's championship to lose. But for the sake of killing off the playoffs, if somebody like Caden Honeycutt could win, that would be pretty cool, because that may officially kill the playoffs. Are we going for an Xfinity and Cup? Xfinity, Zillage is very deserving. A lot of wins this season. But I like Allgaier between the two. And Cup, I wouldn't mind seeing the 24 as a champion again. For me, it's the opposite. It's anyone but Denny. But I understand there's a pretty big story behind Denny Hamlin's season right now. His father's pretty sick, so it would be cool to see him get the championship this year if he's ever going to do it. Cup, Briscoe, Phoenix is one of his best tracks, so that's a good pick. Larson's won it before at Phoenix, so don't count him out. But They just haven't shown a ton of speed this year. And, Byron, who knows? Who knows what they'll bring? It would be really cool for Byron to start the season winning the Daytona 500 and then winning the finale in Phoenix. That would be really cool. Yeah, in Cup, it doesn't matter as much. And Denny, he is the win leader in the Cup Series. But if you look at the season-long points, and if you look at the Winston Cup format points, Denny Hamlin technically doesn't deserve to be in the Final Four. It should have been Bell. It should have been Bell, Briscoe, Larson, and Byron. And so Hamlin, even though he's the win leader, he is kind of playing spoiler by being in the Final Four. But it's the thing that I won't let anyone overlook is Denny Hamlin is towards the end of his career. Yeah, he might have 5 years left at the most. I'm sure he could run longer if he wanted to, but he's, reaching the wall. Eventually, drivers get to a point where they stop winning. They stop running competitively. And to be running as well as he is this late in his career it's just super impressive. Super impressive. Jordan says Connor wins tomorrow, Denny wins Sunday. Very possible. Think that Twitter account Bell has to finish 29th or better to be the champion. Interesting. Cody Ware almost won a Cup race. Yeah, Cody Ware's the GOAT. You say he's gone by 2030? Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Guys like Denny and Kyle Busch, they're the clock's running out. We're looking at 5 or less seasons, most likely. And, they're kind of the elder statesmen of the sport right now. So once they leave, guys that used to be the young guns, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, they're going to be the elder statesmen in 5 years. I mean, time goes by fast in the Cup Series. How's time? Well, looking at our starting order, he's starting in 6th, which is about average for Corey. So Corey Heim's season has been really impressive because he's just run consistently, highly competitive and consistently. So there are races where Lane Riggs or Chandler Smith or anybody else might have the best truck that day, Ty Majeski, whoever, and then they would have a mistake. And who was there to capitalize? Corey Heim. So, he's just been there. And sometimes that's all it takes to get a win is, being in the right place at the right time. You don't have to have the best truck on some given days. So, and, I feel like if this race goes green in the 3rd stage, it's going to get spread out and the best truck will win. But if we get a late race restart, find something to hold on to because it's going to get crazy. All right, we're having the commands right. The command right now to start the engines. Oh, okay. Craftsman Senior Marketing Manager, Rachel Delago. I like it. Good command. Those high energy. I like it. No complaints. Guy said he wants to say he hopes he wins. Rate the command. I mean, I feel like it takes a person with a huge, imposing energy to give a 10 out of 10 command, but it's easily a 7. Easily. You might go higher. She's a lady, so their voice ranges are a bit different. They're not going to do the yelling as well. But for her vocal range, I feel like she gave a ton of effort. And so it's an easy 7. You could go higher if you want to. I'm not going to give it a 10. I don't know if anyone but Kevin James gets the 10 rating. Kevin James has killed it on his commands. Absolutely out of the park. Riggs has a penalty for failing tech post. Oh my goodness. Well, that's crazy. So Lane Riggs starting on the pole, but having to go to the rear. Well, I mean, that kind of removes a bit of the equation. You know, Lane Riggs could have played spoiler. And I know guys like Rajah Caruth are still trying to play spoiler, but that could have been Lane's role today, being the fastest non-eligible driver. But now, you know, going to the rear, he's going to have to work his way back up, which has really been the story of Lane Riggs' season. Run well, have potential race-winning speed, and then an issue sets him back halfway through the field, and he has to run to the front. Yeah, there have been a few low-energy commands, and part of that's a lot of the time the command will be given, like today, someone from the sponsoring company, and it's maybe not necessarily someone that's familiar with the sport or what the command really entails. Like, you know, you have people, gentlemen or drivers, start your engines. It's like, okay, no, I need someone that's putting their tonsils through the microphone yelling so loud. That's the kind of what I want. Yeah, Lane Riggs, like, he has time. He has plenty of time. Just gonna have to play his cards right. Chandler, his cat said Heim wins the championship. He deserves it. He deserves it. But for the good of the playoffs getting deleted, I wouldn't mind someone else winning, because man, would it tick some people off. One command I was pleasantly surprised with recently was Bill Murray. You know, sometimes he's a real low energy character, and you don't know which Bill Murray you're gonna get when you have him in an interview or, you know, whatever, an in-person appearance. Sometimes he'll be the low energy grouch. Sometimes he'll be a goofy, you know, over the top guy. And I saw that Bill Murray, he went and shook every driver's hand before the race, which was pretty neat. Made sure to meet and talk to everybody. And then he gave a pretty exciting command. So I thought he did a great job. Michael says all Disney channels are gone on YouTube TV. That is right. That's right. Yeah, between Disney and ESPN. So it's ABC gone, Disney, ESPN. Yeah, if you guys watch sports, like, that's a huge deal. Yeah, Space Jam Bill Murray. That's right. Not the Zombieland Bill Murray. All right, we have trucks out on track. They're interviewing Matt Craftsman right now. Someone was saying they need to rip Arkansas football. Well, you're not missing much, Skitch. It's been a rough year for Arkansas. I don't think they had a terrible team this year. It's just they just find a way to lose every week. You know, I think they almost beat A&M, and it's been close in several other games. Really close against Memphis. Just some disappointing games. I lived in Arkansas for a couple of years, so and as an LSU fan, I enjoy when Arkansas loses. I enjoy it so much. Matt Craftsman, final race as a full-time driver. It's crazy. You know, he's been a stalwart of the truck series. You know, coming up for me, like Ron Hornaday was there, Mike Skinner, and Todd Bodine, and then that kind of cycled out, and Matt Craftsman's been there kind of the whole time. Does he have a special scheme? There might be something special about it, but I didn't see anything crazy. It looked just about like his normal yellow 88 truck. Stars and Bars Film says he remembers Matt when he was 5, watching him at Vegas. That's crazy. Yeah, somebody posted a picture of Matt Crafton in Dirt to Daytona, the video game. And, you know, it's crazy how long he's been around, and for the most part has been with that 88 team. I think he went to, what, the 5 for a while or something? You watch Rick Crawford winning? That's not great. So they're saying Lane Riggs could still win the Owners' Championship. That's always really interesting when guys get suspended or miss a race for injury, and then it shakes up the owners and drivers' points. So, like, the car might be in the driver championship but not in the owner, or vice versa. Very interesting, because the Owners' Championship pays a lot of money. So the owners sometimes want to win the Owners' Championship more than the driver one, even though the Drivers' Championship carries more prestige, obviously. In the 6-1 year Harvick's truck. Interesting. Interesting. I see it. I see one that he drove for Kiss. That's the truck I was thinking of. That's the truck I was thinking of. That's right. Such a good looking truck. The Good Wrench. Gorgeous. All right. Field's about to stack up. Come on, let's get this going. We have guys still shaking out different positions, going to the back. We may have, what, 2 more laps at least? Didn't he have a Cup debut for Busch? Not sure. Where's my monster? Have my beverage of choice. Let's get this thing going. That's good stuff. Unleash the beast. All right, guys. Okay, let me put out this question. If Corey Heim doesn't win the race today, who else do you think is going to win the race? That's my question. As we're about to go green. So if you can't pick Corey Heim to win the race, who do you think might have it? Stars and Bars says Lane Riggs. I mean, that's a good pick for sure. He has his work cut out for him today. We are about to go green. We are green at Phoenix. One last truck race. Here's a reminder, guys. If you are a member of the NASCAR Fan Rewards program, make sure to check in for today's race. Get those points. I've only missed like 2 races this year. Ooh, caution already. We'll get a replay of this as soon as we can. Is that Dawson Sutton in the wall really hard? This is going to be probably at least a 6-lap cleanup. Yeah, boogity boogity, and then nope, we're done. No more boogity. We're done with boogity. Let me pull up my soundboard. Daniel Hemrick involved as well.
Flags in the air. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. Aggressive goes around.
I had to get those out of the way. That's our boogity, and that's our aggressive goes around. So let's see how the running order's changed in just a lap. We have Chandler Smith scored in the lead. Brent Cruz second. Third, Caden Honeycutt. Okay, now it's adjusted a little bit. Chandler Smith still in lead. Caden Honeycutt second. Brent Cruz third. Rajah fourth. So Rajah moved up a couple positions, right? Maybe one. He was around here, so it doesn't really matter. Corey Himes still in sixth. Giovanni Ruggiero seventh. Eighth, Ty Majeski. Ninth, Ben Rhodes. 10th, Stephon Parsons. And then 34th, Dawson Sutton. After that contact there. Lane Riggs moving up to 31st. He's already up a few positions. 30th now. Let's see if he's actually scored there. Michael Turner says Lane Riggs. He's going to win. Yeah, Lane's a good pick. $18. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Well, just under commercial break. Hopefully they get this cleaned up quickly. Let me go ahead and see if we have a replay. I doubt we have one this soon. We'll see if someone posted one. Well, we do have a picture from Steven Taranto, who just lost his job. He's done a great job covering NASCAR this year. On CBS cut his position, downsizing their motorsports division, I guess. It's a shame, so hopefully somebody else picks him up, because he's done a great job covering the races, getting photos, getting stories. So hard into the outside wall there. As soon as we get a replay, we'll get it pulled up. If Dawson Sutton is not concussed, I would be surprised. That was brutal. All right, still no replay from the official Craftsman page. Let's see if Fox Sports 1 has even said anything about this. No, obviously, no post about the Truck Series at all. Fox Sports does not care about NASCAR. That's disgusting. Hey, there's our command. It's a pretty good command. Xfinity's final stage will be commercial free. That's right. Brought to you by Xfinity to celebrate their final race as the what would you call it? Presenting sponsor of the Xfinity series, or the title sponsor. That's it. Should be fun. Somebody said, what if the final stage gets red flagged for like 3 hours? Will it still be commercial free? Has it started? It has started. Lap 1, we had a caution, so we didn't make it far. No replay yet. We may have to wait until like halfway through this next run before we get a replay posted. Did someone get penalized? Is that what they're talking? Is that what they're talking about here? So did Caden Honeycutt just get a penalty? Yeah. That wasn't like super egregious, but if that's how they want to rule on it, fine. You're in your basement watching you're in your basement you're in the TV you're in your basement TV watching this because it has cable. I wish I had a basement. Basements are so cool. It's like a man-made furnished cave. Especially being in a basement on Halloween. Like, it doesn't get cooler than that. There we go. We're 3 wide on the restart. We are back green 4 wide. That Craftsman just wrapped the inside wall. My goodness. He lost a ton of time there, too. Didn't really gain anything running that low. Yeah, a lot of places in the United States can't have basements. The water level's too high. That's a big problem where I'm at. The water table's too high, and so a lot of people with basements end up having mold issues or flooding issues. Okay, Honeycutt, 26th right now. And where is our guy, Elaine Riggs, running? There he is. He just did his pass through. So Elaine Riggs really needs a caution right now. There's a door leading outside. It's like a half basement. I've seen those, yeah. I actually prefer that. It's really cool. It's like, do you have like, you walk out and there's a deck maybe above it? Because I know some people have that. On like the main level, they'll have a deck. And so the basement has like a little covering over it. Where it opens up to the outside. I like that. It's a good thing. I guess your house might be built on a slope. I've seen, usually that's the case. Is if the house is built on a slope from front to back, then they'll have that half basement deal. Yeah, storm season. That's when basements come in handy. That's for sure. Right now, Chandler Smith in the lead. Corey Heim already up to second from 6th place. Not too bad. Here comes the Terminator, Corey Heim. You have a basement that has water damage from the neighbor's house? Interesting. I wish I had a basement. One day. One day. You know what's cooler than a basement, though, is a bunker. I'm going to build a bomb shelter. I'll pretend it's 1960. Caden Honeycutt already back up to 19th, making a move for 18th. Moving up through the field, Tyler Anker running 15th currently. Ty Majeski 5th, and Corey Iman 2nd. Let's look at our playoff drivers. I'll see if I can find an answer on that, Christian. About Daniel Hemrick. We have a replay of that lap 1 accident. Caution lights out. Not actually a view of the wreck. They just posted the actual footage. But yeah, a hard hit from Dawson Sutton there. Let me see if I can find something about Daniel Hemrick. No post about it yet. We'll find out when we can. Christian said he's worried about Sunday after seeing practice today with how many tire failures we had. There were at least 6. Or no, at least 8. That you counted all left sides too. I wonder if that's a tire issue. If maybe the track temps will be different for the race. Or perhaps are the teams just being too aggressive with the setups? Because sometimes that's the issue. You'll have guys that run 80 laps, no issue. And then you'll have guys whose tires fail after 50. Corey, I'm still trying to run down Chandler Smith, but that's bringing Brent Cruz into the conversation. The top 3 are under a blanket. Yeah, Corey Heim's moving up through the field. You know, started 6th, and now he's trying to run down the leader, falling back a little bit off that on that last lap. But this is a great start for Corey Heim. Justin87 said he wants Corey Heim to lose just so the NASCAR officials have no worries on changing the system, or maybe have to worry. Oh, no worries on... Yeah, okay, I get you. Took my brain a second there, Justin. I totally agree. I want Heim to win it, but it would be great if he didn't. Because it might be the straw that breaks the camel's back and gets rid of the playoffs. Yeah, so Stars, I hate how this race is on Fox Sports 1. NASCAR on their next TV deal, like whenever it is, 5 years from now, whenever it comes back up, they need to demand the races run on network television. That way people can tune in through an antenna. Because I have a TV package, but I don't like paying for it. Now that the Cup season's over, I'll probably cancel it maybe in January. I'll wait till the college football season ends. Yeah, it is expensive, but even though I have a TV package, what I was saying is I use an antenna. I have an antenna on this television in here. I have an antenna on my television in the living room. And so I'll watch like the Xfinity races on the CW. Whenever they do a race on Big Fox or NBC, I'll watch it through antenna. And then I watch college football on ABC through the antenna as well. Oh, Skitch said antenna. Yeah, antenna's where it's at. Because it's the least delayed. There are plenty of times I'm 30 seconds ahead of my buddies who are on YouTube TV. Is it fairly cheap? Yeah. So let me get you the website, Stars and Bars. So there's a website you can use to figure out what channels are in your area to see if it's worth it for you to get an antenna. Post it in the chat. So if anybody's interested in getting an antenna, yeah, they run like $20 to $40 depending on which type you get. It actually matters a little bit on which one you get because some are rated for more distance. Yeah, I picked this one up from Walmart. I don't really like this antenna as much, the one I have in here. The one I have in the living room picks up stuff, usually no issue. But the one in here is very finicky. I have no clue where it is. Where is it? I think it fell. Oh, no, I remember what I did with it now. I put it on the back of one of my monitors, so I can't see it anymore. Yeah, it's pretty cheap. You can find antennas at Walmart and a lot of those big box stores, or you can just order one. But I would check that website to see which channels are in your area and like what kind of signal you're going to be dealing with, because that'll kind of inform you on what type of antenna you need. And I know some people do outdoor antennas or antennas on the roof, but you can just set it up in your window and it'll probably do fine. Michael says, if Heim and Zilich lose the championship, this could force NASCAR to go back to full season points. Yeah, it's a difficult balance. I want those two to win their championship. They deserve it. But man, would it be good for the whole sport if they lost. Heim's the only reasonable champion, but if Heim can't win it, you want Majeski to. So you're a big Ford guy. Majeski is their only shot for a champion in all three series. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point, Christian. I'm not a Ford guy myself. I don't have anything against them. I like the company. I actually almost like my coworker has a Mustang. He has the newest Mustang. Whatever this latest generation is, he got it when it came out. He was the first guy in our area to get one of the new Mustangs. He had it ordered like right after they announced it. Anyway, he had a Mustang before that. He loves it. He almost convinced me to get one. But then I rode in his back seat, and the way the Mustang slopes off like a teardrop in the back, I was crunched in. Couldn't even sit up straight. You know, at least in the Camaro, if I would never sit in the back seat. But if I had to, or if someone equally my size had to sit in the back, they could. The only constraint would be legroom. Roof antenna got a pool towel stuck on it once. That's crazy, Sketch. So you have a roof antenna. That's nice. I'm in an apartment, so I just have two antennas. I have one that sits near a window, and then I have one that sits in a window. But you can also get this cool system. You plug in the antenna to this box. It's connected to your home internet, and then you use an app, and you can actually access the antenna television from your phone, from your computer, from your TVs. So you only need one antenna and then one of those little boxes, and then you can just watch your antenna television everywhere. Pretty cool. And it also has a DVR function. I forget what that's called, but it's pretty neat. So if you have multiple televisions, you could get multiple antenna setups, but if you just want to run one really good antenna and the box, then you can run it on any device. Pretty sick. Ford had a complete failure of a season this year to only have one guy in the Final Four out of the three series. It's understandable in this current format, you know, Final Four. They weren't the most competitive in Cup this year. You know, Penske was their best shot, and they couldn't work the voodoo magic this year. In the trucks, you know, it's understandable why they made it, because they actually have, a decent enough truck program. But in Xfinity, there's hardly any Fords. Like, it really annoys me how little Fords there are in the field in Xfinity. It comes down to like the field is 60% Chevy, 40% Toyota, and then the rest of the field made up maybe with some Fords. It's probably even worse than that. It's like 35% Toyota, 5% Ford. Double A says Honeycutt so fast, time might be in trouble. Yeah, he's moved up so many spots already. What, at least probably over 20 since the restart. Yeah, Haas Factory. I think the Sieg brothers are also in a Ford. I think there's another small team. Is it Sam Hunt maybe? Or are they Toyota? I don't know. There's a few small Ford teams, but yeah, Haas is the biggest one. And they're not even a big team. Golly, the sun going into turn 4 is insane. Or turn 3, really. I hate how they flipped the track. I understand why they did, and it's so the fans wouldn't be in the sun all day long. But golly, does it mess with my brain. Because that should be turn 1. AM racing. It is AM racing. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's disappointing how little participation there is for Ford in the Xfinity Series. Penske killed their program off. SHR or Stewart Haas, they don't exist anymore, but they've pulled back their participation. That's crazy, Kristen. That is crazy. Stars and Bars, hey, good to have you, man. Hope you're able to catch the rest of this race wherever you can get it. And, if you're going to sleep, hope you have a good sleep. Haas is swapping to Chevy. That's what I've heard, yeah. Which is interesting. They were a Chevy program, years ago. It just makes me wonder, how strong their connection to Hendrick will be, because they had a partnership years ago. And so I don't know how many people are still remaining from those days, but, maybe there's already some connections there. I've also heard rumors that Hendrick may consider dropping Spire from the partnership. And on that front, I haven't heard whether or not they're going to switch to Trackhouse like they had, or maybe go back to RCR, but the Spire partnership hasn't been the greatest. Penske and RFK so needed an Xfinity for Ford. I agree. You can't really mandate a team to own a car, but it would be nice if the major cup teams at least ran one car, at least a single car in the lower series, which Hendrick is now in Xfinity. They have 17. But the rest of the teams need to join in. That would be really neat, Christian. You bring up a good point about Sieg maybe getting more help from the manufacturer. That's a good point. Whew. So our leader, Corey Heim, working through lap traffic right now. Coming around for the stage 1 victory. Ty Majeski third, 7th, Caden Honeycutt moving through the field. And Tyler Ankrum still stalled back mid-pack, running 14th right now. Lane Riggs has recovered to 17th. So, not exactly lighting the world on fire, but he was almost going down a lap at one point. So, decent enough recovery for Lane Riggs. Avoiding going down a lap. That's super important for him. Let's see what we have in terms of a replay, maybe. I still don't know if we have an angle on that Dawson-Sutton accident. No, still no angle. We have a video of the car rolling after the accident, but no actual video of the wreck itself. Any information on Daniel Hemrick? Evaluated and released. Did Daniel Hemrick's steering wheel snap off or something? His truck turned right instantly into Sutton. Looks like he got into the back of another truck too, somebody said. Still no information on what happened to him, to Hemrick. Night team Daniel Hemrick is going to the garage under the damaged vehicle policy. Daniel Hemrick done for the night. Yeah, no information on what the cause of the accident was, but yeah, it seems definitely like it could be a mechanical issue. It would be cool to see front row do it too. Why does Noah drive the 4-card front row with SHR fine if you drove the 10 at SHR? That's, well, I don't think it's the exact SHR font. I might be wrong about this, but I feel like they tweaked it a very small amount, like something to do with the outline or whatever. I feel like it was a very small change, but it's still very similar. That's a good question though, Skidge. Maybe since it's just one of the SHR charters, and so they kind of just carried the number with it. Maybe. Christian said, here's your thing. Beside Riggs and maybe Garcia, what other Ford drivers are Xfinity or Cup ready? Yeah. That's a really good question. Ford's kind of lacking there on the developmental front because Toyota, you know, they've had a factory of Cup drivers come through the Toyota program. Now that KBM isn't a thing anymore, that may not, you know, hold true in the future. And Chevy, you know, they develop guys well enough, not necessarily developing a ton of talent in trucks. Trucks is really a placeholder series for Chevy, but you'll see their, you know, factory guys move on to like Junior Motorsports or something. And, you know, so you see evidence of Chevy trying to develop people. Ford, though, not as much. Yeah, Chandler Smith is probably a decent pick. Maybe none of them. Sometimes you just get a slate of guys that aren't destined for Cup, especially if there's not rides available. All right, stage 1 out of the way. We have guys mounting up for potential pit stops. Oh, yeah. Our leaders are coming down pit road. One more year and Riggs will be ready for Xfinity. Yeah, I think he's pretty good. Apparently, Doodlebug, apparently. From what that reporter's tweet said. All right, our leaders are down. Corey Heim, Brent Cruz, Ty Majeski, Raja Caruth. All coming in. Corey LaJoy pitting from 6th place. Lane Riggs down. Tyler Ankrum on pit road getting service. Let's see if these guys can gain any positions. If Lane Riggs' crew could get him out quickly here and gain him like 5 positions, it would be huge. Potentially day saving. Because it would greatly speed up his run to the front. But I don't know if Lane Riggs' truck was running very well back in the pack. Because he didn't really knock off a ton of positions, but I have to caveat, he was almost a full lap down at one point. So it's pretty impressive he didn't go a lap down. And he passed a lot of lap cars, or cars that did go a lap down. Coming off pit road, Corey Heim holds the lead. Raja Caruth 2nd, Brent Cruz 3rd, 4th, Ty Majeski 5th, Tanner Gray 6th, Gio Ruggiero Caden Honeycutt losing 2 positions on pit road. That's not great, but it's not fatal. Cody Ware going for championship 13. And Majeski's your pick if Heim doesn't win. Yeah, Cody Ware's the best. I run Cody Ware's scheme on NASCAR 25 online. So if you ever see me playing online, feel free to join up. Just don't touch me. Just don't touch me. I don't care if we're at Talladega. Don't touch me. The bump drafting doesn't really work in NASCAR 25. Maybe it does in the lower series, but in the next gen car, unless you slam draft with someone, you know, you get a good run and then hit them, you really don't gain a lot of speed riding bumper to bumper, which is really disappointing. So it's better if the trailing car backs off and gets just a few runs per lap and just keeps shoving the car in front really hard. Yeah, if you ever see me online, I'm on PlayStation. Hop on. The thing is, I just hate racing online with randoms. I prefer it to be with people I somewhat know. That way, we can usually get a relatively clean race. The online lobbies are just wreckfest. And it's a miracle if you survive. Because you can be running in the top 5, having a great day, and it looks like, okay, I might have winning speed here. You'll have a guy from 10th place send it wide open into the corner and clear out half of the field. It's a mess. A real mess. All right, under commercial again, waiting for stage 2 to get underway. A Dog Likes Cowboy says he took his sister Halloween tonight. Let's go. Hopefully you guys got a fair amount of candy. You know, Halloween's a big holiday for a lot of people. You know, I don't really celebrate too much, but tonight I'm planning on watching a scary movie. I watched one last night. Plan on watching another one tonight, ordering a pizza, having a good time. Oh, who had issues? Corey Heim slippery in his box. Didn't affect him too much. He got off pit road first. My buddy sent me a picture of his kids out trick-or-treating. Another buddy of mine is taking his 3 kids out. You hate running in lobbies that turn into a wreckfest. They made an actual wreckfest game for that. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like, and like, if I'm, you know, if I have the pace to win, I'll go out there and try. But if I'm, you know, gonna run, you know, like maybe 3rd place pace, I just try to settle into a rhythm. And really all I'm worried about online is laying down a good lap. That way, you know, it shows everybody, hey, I had pace. Because the, you know, the lobbies, you might get wrecked a million. Double A. Got your friend request. I have accepted. We are friends now. So we're back green. Corey, I am holding the lead. Rajah Caruth 2nd. Ty Majeski 3rd. Brent Cruz was looking inside, but gonna hold 4th right now. Ty Majeski looking to the inside of Rajah Caruth. Not gonna make the pass there. Rajah running the dog leg. Ty Majeski staying higher up on the track. We have guys 3 wide throughout the field. Who is running the very bottom. So Corey Heim almost out to a half-second lead. But yeah, I'm just trying to run good laps. Like, you know, especially with the rating system now, I'm trying to get those S-tier laps. Some tracks I can't do it with the default setup. Some of them I can. A big issue I have is I don't have custom setups for the Cup car because I haven't run the Cup car very much because I'm, you know, in my career, I've done ARCA, trucks, and now I'm in Xfinity. I haven't really touched the Cup car yet. And the fixed setup, some tracks, it's way too tight. And then other tracks, it's extremely wrecking loose. So if you go into a lobby that has expert setups only, or expert settings only for assists, a lot of times they'll also have it on custom setups. So when I go into those lobbies, it's not the most fair competition, and people don't run those. There might be like one person in the lobby. All the popular ones have like assist turned on and no cautions and stuff. But yeah, my dream lobby would be everyone uses fixed setups and we run on expert difficulty. That's perfect. But there's not many lobbies like that. I didn't see any of those the last couple of nights. Michael says Hemrick and Sutton out. Yeah, AA. I ran a handful of races yesterday online trying to get some gameplay. I think I had one decent enough race. Okay, it wasn't a win, I don't believe. It was like decent enough. Oh, it was Sonoma. I think it was Sonoma. I hadn't run there yet in the Cup car, and I didn't have my sound on. I thought it was going to come through my TV, but it was routed through my headset. My headset wasn't on. But anyway, no sound, no practice time, no experience in the Cup car at Sonoma. I finished, I think, 4th, which I was pretty proud of. In the hairpin at Sonoma, on the last lap, I drove it in deep and punted a guy out of the way. It wasn't an aggressive hit. Like, it didn't wreck him. It just shoved him up the track, and I held a position. But I wasn't even running fast laps. I didn't run a single, like, A-tier lap the whole race. I was just running safely and trying not to cut the corners, trying not to spin the car. I ended up finishing top 5. But pretty much every race after that, I would get wrecked. Usually before the start-finish line. You know, it would go green, and some guy would miss a shift and stack half the field up, and then guys would start wrecking, and I would get involved. Or we would make it a couple laps, and somebody would turn me, whatever. I had a shot at winning. The video I posted the other day, I had a really good shot at winning that race. I was the fastest one in the lobby. And I got put in the wall multiple times. And, you know, fell back, had to work my way back up. And still brought home a top 3. Almost second place. It's just guys have no respect in line. You know, they'll use you up, put you in the wall, keep driving. Well, we're under commercial again. Corey Heim's still out front. Caden Honeycutt hasn't made up a ton of ground here. He's passed a few cars, but he's snuck his way inside the top 5. So we have 2 of our playoff drivers, you know, 1, 2, another one in 5th. And then Tyler Ankrum, running 15th still. Not Ankram's day. It seems like they just missed the setup on the car. Completely. Lane Riggs, seeing him in 11th right now. Pretty good for Lane Riggs. Wonder how Honeycutt's car runs on the long run. Because he had a ton of pace in that first stage. Who's my Xfinity pick? I think that is a great pick, AA. I think that is a great pick. Oh, but I'll get to that in a second. So back to the online on NASCAR 25. Yeah, I quit out of most of those races because I would just get annihilated. And I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm not racing in this lobby. And I kept going back for more, and it kept going the same way. So frustrating. Especially when I'm trying to run clean and not wreck people. You just have guys with no respect in line. So it's like, yeah, I'm just going to go work and race now and try to figure out some custom setups that I like. So I tested Bristol quite a bit. Not the most consistent there, but I won a race. I ran like a 50% league race, and I won it with a tire that was like 4% remaining. It's pretty crazy. And then I ran at Dover. Got a pretty good setup there. Both of them burn off the right front, but if you save it, you can make good time late in the run. But that's the difficulty, is saving the tire on a very loose race car. But yeah, Allgaier's a really good pick. Phoenix, he's really good there. He's been here before, so he's going to handle the pressure well. But it's going to be a huge, like, back and forth between Allgaier and Zillage. Who's going to do better? You know, same team. So, you know, who knows how well they're cooperating on setups. And Zillage didn't run well there in the spring, but Zillage has had a ton of experience since then. So maybe he runs better this time around. Because I think last time they ran in the spring, I believe he finished around 18th. Like, it wasn't a good day. Maybe it was 16th, but he was somewhere back there, you know, in the teens. So we'll see how much Zillage has improved. But I think Allgaier's a really good pick. And, you know, he may not have, you know, 20 wins like Zillage does. But in full season points, he's only 88 back. And that's with a few races he got taken out by, you know, things outside of his control. Of course, Zillage did sit a whole race. You know, he missed a whole race. So it, you can't really make that excuse. But he's not undeserving. He's ran very consistent this year. So yeah, AA. That's my thoughts on. I think Allgaier probably going to run decent. You know, for whatever reason, when they go to the West Coast, Allgaier just turns it up to like level 11. But I think Zillage has probably improved a bit. And so this time around, especially with how he's been able to win at so many different types of tracks, he might run a bit better, if not a lot better. So that'll be the big question. How much has Zillage improved at Phoenix since the spring? Christian said he has a compelling prediction for trucks next year. All the colleague drivers beside Eckes were moved to trucks. His guess is Eckes goes to McAnally to replace Jack Wood next year. That's interesting. Yeah, there's a few like question marks where some of these guys end up next year. Like the trucks, the silly season hasn't really worked itself out yet. Has there been any rumor on where Heim's going to run next year? Because I haven't heard one yet. And man, if I'm putting together a new team, if I'm Ram, I'm throwing the bank at Corey Heim. And then if Dodge ever comes into the sport, you work them up through the Dodge pipeline, Xfinity, Cup, whatever. Out of these truck guys, I mean, depending on how Heim runs in Xfinity, and we've already seen him running Cup, he might be Cup ready already. At Phoenix, no, not Phoenix, at Bristol, I believe, was the race that I watched him run. And it was super impressive how he was running in the open car. Oh, yeah, Tyler out here. 18. That's not bad. The 19 for JGR hasn't been confirmed. Yeah. I mean, that would make the most sense for him if he was going to go up to, you know, find his way to JGR. But if I'm any other team, I'm opening the pocketbook, you know. I'm saying, you know, if you're serious about winning and you want that guy in your manufacturer, like with your manufacturer, if I'm like Chevy, then I'm going to Junior and saying, hey, we can pony up 15%, 10%, whatever the money works out to be, to get this guy locked in to Chevy, and eventually, you know, have plans for him to, you know, move up to one of the Chevy teams. Christian said he heard Heim's going to be part-time across all 3 series and basically piece the season together. That would be unfortunate, but, you know, we've seen guys do weirder things and work their way back up. And it could definitely show the versatility of Heim, especially if he's able to run well across different equipment, different, you know, series. Honestly, he needs to replace Riley Herbst in the 35. And that needs to happen yesterday. Herbst has been running a bit better, but this whole season has been a complete wash. And I was never blown away by Riley Herbst in the Xfinity series. So the fact that he moved up to Cup, you know, is just wild. Back under commercial again. Riley says Heim isn't going to JGR because the whole... Oh, yeah, the Heim-Ty Gibbs situation. It's obvious Gibbs is holding Heim back. Yeah, Christian. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, I wasn't sure how he was going to run at Bristol in that 67 car. I'm not going to do it. And he ran really well, really competitively. You know, I was a little concerned because Herbst hasn't run well. And so 2311 preparing a 4th car, how much effort were they going to put into it? And then he had a really competitive race. So, and that's Bristol. Bristol's, you know, a really tough track. The short tracks are really where driver talent comes out, you know. Intermediate super speedways, you know, you can get away with a little inexperience, you know, with how wide the track is. You know, you can run a different line and stay away from people. You can have a quiet day if you want. But on a short track, you're exposed to non-stop battles. You know, someone's always attacking. You're constantly going after someone. You know, usually not a ton of lines to run. And so it was a really impressive showing. I would like to see him in Xfinity for a bit, but I mean, if he had a few more Cup dates, you know, show me what you got. He might be ready. So one huge talent that Corey Heim has is he's just extremely consistent. And that shows a level of maturity, I think. You know, if you're impatient, you push it at the wrong time, you can take yourself out of the position to win. And he's done the opposite of that all year. He has put himself in a position to win. I've talked about it time and time again, but even when he's not the fastest driver on track, he puts himself in the position that if the fastest guy has an issue, which they have a lot this year, he's there to pounce. And, you know, he just works on it throughout the race. You know, you don't really ever see him fall off too much. He usually gets stronger throughout a run. So I think he has a lot of, I guess, intangibles that make him Cup ready, more Cup ready than a lot of guys that are in Xfinity right now. Ty Majeski, though, in second, he's 2 seconds back. So that's a pretty big gap. But and Honeycutt's only up to 4th He hasn't gained too many spots, and he's almost 10 seconds back. Tyler Ankrum still doing nothing at all. Is it too late to replace Ankrum with Lane Riggs in this playoff 4? What if we did a 35 race season? Well, that would be for Cup. And we do a 1 race playoff. And we just eliminate thirds of the field. So the first stage we eliminate, 15 guys. The second stage we eliminate 15 guys. And in the third stage, it's whoever's left. That'll be our championship. That'll be our postseason format. I've nailed it. I've cracked the code. We do a 35-1. In my format, Lane Riggs would still be in the running. Barely. Like, he had a very clutch stage 1. I would like to see Lane Riggs move up a couple more positions here before the end of the stage, but he's not going to have enough time. Corey Himes is about to come around for the stage 2 victory. Yes, 35-1. No more 26-10. No discussion of a 32-4. None of that. Not a 36 race season. We do a 35-1. Everyone's eligible. It's just through the stages we eliminate people. It's genius. So, Double A, that brings up something that's funny to me. Apparently, there's a glitch in season mode right now in NASCAR 25. You can finish last every race of the season. And if you win at Phoenix, it gives you the championship. So someone posted they had 0 top 10s, 0 top 5s, no laps led, nothing. And they won the last race of the season. And it gave them the championship. And they were racing against Tony Breidinger. Tony won the championship for the full season with 66 points. 66 for the full year. So, that's a pretty wild glitch. Hey, that's my format. A 35-1. Which with trucks, it would be different. What, a 31-1 or whatever? However many races they do. I don't know what the number is. All right, under commercial again after stage 2. Let's go ahead and take a look at our results here. Corey Heim first. He was running very strong. Ty Majeski second. Brent Cruz third. Caden Honeycutt fourth. I think Honeycutt restarted somewhere around 8th. So to make their way up to 4th, like not, terrible. But not lighting the world on fire. They're not running as strong as they were in stage 1. Rajah Caruth falling back to 5th. Not like a, falling off a crazy amount. But it doesn't look right now like Rajah has race-winning pace. 6th, Tanner Gray. 7th, Lane Riggs. I believe he might have restarted somewhere around 11th. I'm not sure exactly where he was. He may have been a bit further back. But making his way up to 7th. Again, I don't know. It seems like maybe he had a truck that preferred clean air. I just don't know if he has race-winning pace. We'll see. Restarting up here probably towards the top 5 after pit stops here. Maybe he can make a race of it. Maybe they can dial the truck in. But I'm not terribly optimistic. Like, I haven't seen him run like some crazy laps yet. Like Honeycutt was earlier. Jake Garcia 8th, 9th, Stefan Parsons, 10th, Giovanni Ruggiero, 11th. I always have a hard time pronouncing his name. Is it Andres or is it Andres? Andres Perez de Lara. 12th, Corey LaJoie. 13th, Bailey Curry. 14th, Ben Rhodes. 15th, Connor Mozak. Grant Enfinger, 16th. And one of our playoff guys, Tyler Ingram, 17th. That's rough. Tyler Rive over there in the in running 18th right now. Pretty impressive. Jack Wood, 21st. Matt Crafton, 19th. Skipped over him. Chandler Smith running pretty not great right now. He's down a lap. Scored 23rd. Frankie Muniz, 27th. 2 laps down. And I do believe it's already been announced. I think Frankie's running next year. So it's good to have him. I like seeing him run. Live his dream, even though he started it late. Did I see Danny B. Talk say NASCAR could do 3 formats and 3 series, and whichever one has the... That's awesome, Doodlebug. I like Danny B a lot. He just seems like a really nice guy. And he's into some cool... Like, he likes NASCAR. He likes trains. And, like, I'm not a train guy, but I respect it. I think it's a pretty neat hobby to have. And he's a Bowman guy. That's cool. From Tennessee, so I can somewhat relate to that. I don't live in Tennessee, but I get up there a fair amount. Very pretty area. So Corey Heim on pit road. These are our leaders. Oh, whoever was in front of Lane Riggs just checked up really hard on entry. But that's really cool. The 3 different formats and 3 series. Like, I would prefer full season, but I mean, I wouldn't be against that. I feel like you probably need to run the same format, you know, long term, just to prepare the guys in the lower series for the upper series. And it's just a more pure format to run full season, which is what I want. But it would be neat. It would be pretty neat. Run like the chase, run a full season, and run maybe like a modified playoff. You know, that's pretty neat. I did not see that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, Doodlebug. DNBNDR. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. I have no clue. Downbender. I have no clue what that is. 35-1. So if everyone's favorite driver is 100s of points ahead and then loses the race, everyone have a meltdown, kind of like the poor me movement. Lose an election, cry in the middle of the street. Yes, we need the 35-1. You could have a guy like Jeff Gordon wins 13 times in a year, but if they don't win that final race when the lights are the brightest, we put them in the electric chair. So that's one thing I didn't mention about this playoff format, the 35-1. Whoever finishes last in points gets the electric chair. So you have a parts failure on lap 1, you're done. Yeah, old age and young age. You know, the beginning of someone's career and the end of someone's career. It's pretty interesting. Tony Breidinger, I know a lot of people like her. She has quite a few fans. Maybe not like, you know, to be competitive, but people like her, follow her. She's in 30th. She has some big name sponsors all the time. You know, that's part of what NASCAR is nowadays, is a giant marketing scheme. And Tony's good at it, so good for her. I'm sure the teams are happy to take the paychecks. Corey LaJoie, 11th. He fell back through that run. I'm not sure where he restarted, but he went into the pits from 7th, I believe. So he fell back a little bit. Through, I guess, that pit cycle. I didn't actually see where they came out. I mean, I'm looking at it, but I wasn't watching it live. You know, I'm really excited. Phoenix has never been one of my favorite tracks. Even though, like, it's kind of fun to drive in the new NASCAR game. I kind of have... I'm not, like, crazy fast there, but I can get around it pretty well. Anyway. it's just not the type of track I want to see as the championship. You know, I would rather see Charlotte. I would rather see Vegas, Miami. Miami's a great one. I would rather see those as a championship because intermediate is the core of NASCAR, the 1.5s. And I want a track with a bunch of different lines. So there's plenty of opportunity to pass. You're not stuck on a single file track. Like, I would hate to see it in Nashville. That would not be good. A very single file track. Phoenix, it was a wild choice, but the reason they went to Phoenix in the first place is Phoenix invested a ton of money to completely renovate the facility and add some new amenities. And NASCAR awarded them with that championship hosting responsibility. I'm excited to see them go back to Miami next year. It's easy to get sponsors when you're a female and have other things men like. And most of the sport, including the sponsors, are men. I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, and I've said this before, it would be huge for the sport to have a successful woman. And eventually we'll have one. Eventually. The thing is, it's just, there's not a lot of people that race. There's not a lot of people that get to race at this high of a level. And on top of that, you have a very small amount of women drivers to choose from, especially ones that have the aspirations to be Cup Series drivers. It's a very small group. So out of that, it takes a lot more to have one that's going to be a race winner and maybe a championship contender. Whereas with guys, you make up 99.9% of the sport. And so you're going to have a higher amount, a higher raw number of competitive guys. But it would be huge for the sport to have a successful woman because it would be a marketing powerhouse. You would activate, more fans, more little girls coming up being fans. We just haven't seen it yet. And if and when that ever happens, it's going to be, crazy. Those are both good picks, Christian. Those are both good picks. I'm hopeful about Isabella. I think if her car next year can be competitive week in and week out, she could have a chance. And it might be an outside chance, but she could have a chance at the ARCA championship because really half the battle in ARCA is running every race. If you just run the full season and you don't wreck out of one of the races, then you're instantly like a top 10 in points. Jason's, sorry for being late. Had to stop by Wawa. Yeah. You get some caffeine, Jason? We're truck racing on Fox Sports 1. 49 laps to go. Corey Heim already almost out to a full second lead. Just crossing over a half second. 7/10 advantage right now. Kenny Honeycutt still running fourth. And back in 19th, Tyler Ankrum. Lane Riggs up to sixth. I don't know if anyone has anything for Heim. And this might play out exactly how I thought it would. I said if we go green through stage 3, I think it's going to be the most deserving guy to win. The fastest car. So here we are. It looks like it might play out that way. A mint chocolate chip iced coffee. That sounds good. Sounds good. I used to get iced coffee when I'd go into work. The gas station was right at the turn-in for where I worked. So I was like, let's stop by and get one. It's a great way to start my day. I drink it, wait for the actual workday to start, just sitting in my office. Those were the days back when I had an office. I love that. So Rajah Caruth hounding Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs moving up through the field. In the top 5 now. 3 seconds back. This is going to come down to whoever has long run handling unless we get a late caution. Double A says this is the truck series. It won't be green for long. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. But I just feel like unless we get a tire failure or someone's car just loses the handling throughout the run, these tracks like Phoenix, the cars just get spread out. And so the chance of a wreck decreases quite a bit. But you're right. It's the truck series, so you never know what'll happen. Christian said if we kept Haley Deegan or Natalie Decker in ARCA another year or two, they would have been the first female ARCA winners. Deegan almost won Daytona that one year. Yeah, out of, between Natalie and Haley, I think Haley's definitely the more talented driver. She ran really well in SRX. She went over to whatever it is, Indy Lights or whatever series it was, or some formula. I don't know. It was an open wheel. You guys might know the series, but from what I heard, she did not run very well. So now I guess she may be looking to come back over to NASCAR. She may just be a dirt driver. That may be Haley's thing, is just driving on dirt. Indy Next. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. I think you're right, Jason. I think you're right. DNBNDR. I'm going to say Downbender. There are a lot of good women drivers on the short tracks, but it doesn't happen. But if it doesn't happen naturally, it'll end like Danica and Haley. Spot on. Bang. Spot on. Yeah, there's I don't follow a ton of the these women that run the short tracks, but I see them on my Twitter because the algorithm's very LSU football, Colts, and NASCAR. There's just tons of that. And so I see a lot of these short track drivers, and I forget their names, but I've been keeping up. One of these drivers I saw, a young lady, she was having symptoms to deal with postural orthostatic tachycardia, I believe. That's it. Anyway, it's an acronym, and it's for what hers was. I believe her heart rate was getting escalated and blood pressure dropping. Anyway, she thought she was having those symptoms. She ended up going to the doctor the other day and found out she had a blood clot in her neck. And like, woo, that's disgusting. But I hope she's doing well. Yeah, I see a lot of these short track drivers. I follow a decent amount of short track guys. When I see them, I'll follow them. Just to try to follow their career. A lot of the Cars Tours guys are on social media. Christian said, Indy Next, and every driver in their rookie season in open wheel don't do too well. Plus, they handicap the rookies and slow down the cars till they get acclimated. Yeah, I mean, open wheels are really it's very precise, especially with how light the car is and the weight they have, or the power they have, power to weight ratio, and the brakes. You have to be super, super precise in your braking points. And it's not like, and they don't run a ton of ovals. So, Indy needs to run more ovals. That's just hands down they need to. They need more races in the schedule also, in my opinion. But anyway, on an oval, you can run different lines. You can have a different braking point as the guy next to you. On a road course, most everyone's going to run a very similar line, and the braking point's pretty much determined. So you have to be on it, nailing it time and time again, and it's just a completely different form of racing. So to make it an open wheel, you have to have money, number one, and number two, you have to have a load of talent. Okay, they're coming back down pit road. That's right, Double A. The truck series will truck. I wasn't listening. What happened to bring out the caution? I have a hard time listening to the TV people talk and also talking myself. So Lane Riggs coming down pit road. The two spun. Clayton Green. Cleanup. I mean, was there really any debris left on the track? IndyCar at Phoenix going to be interesting. Yeah, that's another thing I want to see more of. I want to see more of NASCAR and Indy running together. You know, they're both American series. They're both trying to compete with F1. And I think it would just be good for both sports to group up and drive fans to both events. Let's say you have a NASCAR Saturday night race, a Cup Saturday night race. Then you run Indy on Sunday to keep the people in town. They're already there to see the Cup race. Maybe more will actually show up for the following Indy race. And then you may have people come in. You know, you probably have a fair amount of people come in just for the Indy race. So I think that's a good way to do it. But yeah, these American series, instead of being at each other's necks so much, you know, NASCAR treating Indy like the little brother, Indy treating NASCAR like the stupid older brother. Let's work together a little bit, you know. Imagine IndyCar's cutting the dog leg. Honestly, with how much speed they might keep up, it might not be worth it to run the dog leg. It might be worth it just to hold the speed running a higher line through that area. You see IndyCar run their oval, but the old oval layout, so we don't have the hair bid. That would be really cool. That would be really, really cool to see an Indy road course in the Charlotte facility, because out of all the road courses, you know, Watkins Glen is my favorite. But if I was going to go to a road course, I would want to go to the Roval. And I've had tickets twice and didn't make it. So, disappointing. It's just, I've been to road course races and I don't enjoy them as much as going to see an oval race where I can see the whole track or 80% of the track. And nowadays, especially with the next gen package at the road courses, it's even worse. You know, at least used to, depending on where you're sitting at some of these tracks, you would see the cars get really loose and sliding around, overshooting the corner. With this next gen car, they're shifting 800 times a lap and, you know, hardly ever sliding the tires. Double A said he saw someone post a video of being at the Roval. You can literally see everything. Yeah, especially if you sit up high. I bet you could see quite a bit. My wife has been to Charlotte, but I have not. It's pretty wild that she's actually done something NASCAR related before I did. We've been to Indianapolis together, and we've been to Monaco, you know, where they run the Grand Prix. So back when we had the greatest day in racing, we won't next year because they're running Monaco in a different weekend. Anyway, she's been to all three locations where they run each event. Need to get back up to Indy. The last time I was there, the museum was closed. Christian said IndyCar at Daytona road course would be insane. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm sure maybe they could do it with some engineering of some sort. Maybe have like the opposite of a DRS. Have it where it's open during the road course segment so they can actually get up to speed quickly and actually make good time through the infield portion. And then when they're on the oval portion of the track, it closes and you just have a ton of drag, like a parachute. Maybe. And honestly, with the aero screen, they might be able to do it. The LMP2s and the The prototypes, whatever they're called nowadays. Brent Cruz way off the pace, dropping through the field. We are 5 wide. Woo! Corey Heim back out to the lead. But yeah, the IMSA guys, you know, they're running the track. Obviously, they have a bit more protection than the Indy cars. Oh, we have a caution. Aggressive goes around. Andres Perez de Lara around. A lot of damage. Ton of damage to the 17 of Gio Ruggiero. Sucks to see. I think he has a bright future. Double A says it's on his bucket list to go to the 600 and the 500. Yeah, every year I consider doing the 600. I have family out there now, so it might make it more of an opportunity. But also I have a coworker that goes every year to the 600. We will find out here. Oh. Huge hit. Huge hit. Wow. As soon as we get this replay, and it may take until after the caution's over, we will play this wreck for you guys. You went to the 2025 Coke 600. That's cool. That's really cool. You get the most racing of the year. I mean, as far as NASCAR goes, pretty good deal. And Charlotte just races so well right now. It's aged just enough, and it's running well in the next gen. It's running well for Xfinity. You're right around all the race shops, so you get, you know, if you go to the racetrack, if you're there for a few days, you can visit all the race teams, you know, that are in the area. Yeah, huge hit, huge hit. Really, all three guys took a really pretty big hit. That's right, Doodlebug. That's right. I'm waiting till Jeff Gordon comes back, then I'll go. If Honeycutt goes to Tricon next year, you believe the 11 and the 17 will have multiple wins? Yeah, Honeycutt, you know, a lot of people have some issues with him. And I've heard people say, I don't know why people have issues with him. He's so likable. So there's very different opinions on Honeycutt. The thing I like is that he's been, you know, maybe not race winning pace, but he's been competitive in the 3 different trucks he's been with this year. And I like Stuart Friesen. I like that 52 truck. And so I like seeing it run well. And even though Stuart Friesen's not in the truck, I still want it to do well. Yeah, I hope he's ready to go by Daytona. As soon as we get a replay, we'll get that pulled up for you guys. Double A said red flag. Caution on lap 111 for the number 2 spinning. No replay for this one yet. Interesting. Interesting. Not seeing anybody post a replay. Let's see. Fox NASCAR, are they posting anything? No, the last time they posted was 25 minutes ago. Go back. NASCAR trucks page. Still no update. As soon as we get an update, we'll show the replay. Really hard hit there for the 44. Sunday, you're going to be flipping back and forth between NASCAR race and the Colts game. I'm so excited about the Colts this year. Oh, I am delusionally excited. I want to build a statue of Daniel Jones. It's crazy. You know, we've known the Giants aren't the best run team, you know, for several years now. But for him to go there, I guess he played for Duke, right? And then got drafted up there to the New York Giants. didn't play the best, and then he goes to the Colts and he's playing like peak Peyton Manning. He's actually putting up Peyton Manning numbers in some areas. Extremely impressive. And then Jonathan Taylor having an MVP season. He's on track to hit over 2,000 yards way before the season ends. Have I ever been to Lucas Oil Stadium? I have for a Colts game. And I've been there a few times for other events. Yeah, I've been up to Indy a handful of times. I never got to go when it was the RCA Dome. And I regret that so much. I know it was an old facility and it wasn't the nicest, but I didn't make it up there back in Peyton's heyday. Yeah, that was the stadium. That was the sponsor when I became a Colts fan. And the reason I picked the Colts, actually, it was an accident, I believe. The first ever NFL game I remember watching were I think the Cowboys and maybe the Eagles. And I just remembered blue team. This was probably when I was like 2-3. Then a few years later, I got a NFL game for the Game Boy. And I was going to select my team, to start playing. And I was looking at the blue teams. I saw the Colts. I was like, that's my team. That's it. I like that. And so thank goodness I didn't end up with the Cowboys. And golly, do I hate Tom Brady. Christian says, calling it now, you believe Lane Riggs wins the truck championship next year with Heim gone and Lane's experience. Believe he could go on to have a Heim type of year. That's, man. But what, like, the big, like, dark horse next year, I think it'll take a little bit for them to adjust. But what about those Ram trucks? Imagine they come out and just go off. Double A said that's similar to how he picked the Panthers. First game he watched was the 2003 Super Bowl. You're like, oh. Blue team. That's right. Hey, there's something about those blue teams. Yeah, the way I landed my NBA team is I read Steve Nash's and Charles Barkley's biographies when I was in school. They're both Suns players. So I was like, okay, that's my team. And then I ended up with the Red Sox. I'm not sure why I picked them, but the first year I rooted for them, they won the championship and broke the curse. So I take full credit for the Red Sox winning the title. So I have a very spread out group of teams that I follow. Good to see a Dr. Derp. We're enjoying this race here. We're under red flag, so let's try to get a replay of that last accident if we can. We do have a replay. Here we go. Finally. Look at that huge hit for the 44, 17, a ton of damage. Hard hits for both guys. This truck ends up getting airborne here. Look at that. Monster hit, driver's side there. Ton of damage to the rear end and front of that truck. I don't think they're going to be able to save that one. Yeah, always good to see Dr. Derp here. Doodlebug was the one that introduced me to him. So Doodlebug out there doing a great job marketing. So if you guys don't know, if you guys are interested in more NASCAR content and higher quality NASCAR content than what you'd find here, go check out Dr. Derp. He does great coverage of NASCAR as they run throughout the year. He's planning some really cool off-season stuff. And he also plays the video games and does a good job at that. So definitely recommend it. Hey, it's better than my content, man. I think you do a great job. ran with Justin Haley and Brendan Queen is scary for the rest of the competition. That duo alone could win half the truck races next year. Yeah, it's a possibility. It just depends on how quickly that Ram adapts. Jason said, who's going to win Rookie of the Year in the Trucks Xfinity Cup Series? Excellent question. Let me look it up. Apparently, I already looked at this at some point. So right now, in Cup, by a insane margin, it's between Shaman Gisbergen and Riley Herbst. And right now, the gap is at 1,800 points. Yeah, Xfinity is, yeah, I'd say definitely Zillage. I want to see what the gap is. I'm sure it's insane. Yeah, Connor's. Oh, do they reset? So for Xfinity Series Rookie of the Year standings, there's 2 guys left. Yeah, so it's going off of just the point standing, so it equalized. Connor Zillage and Carson Quaffle are tied at 4,000 points. And then in third, Taylor Gray, 1,800 points back. Yeah, that is insane. 0 wins. Carson Quaffle. I'm looking at the Daily Downforce's website. Let me see if I can find the trucks real quick. Gio Ruggiero. Yeah, I think Gio's going to get it. He's ahead of Connor Mozak with 504 points, and Gio has 695. So I'm pretty sure Gio has it locked in. So even though he wrecked out of the race, Giovanni Ruggiero has something to celebrate today. '26 Rookie of the Year. Next year will be Zillage. Xfinity will be Raja. Trucks, Brendan Queen. That's a really good prediction. It's a really good prediction. I'm just really wondering how Zillage is going to adapt to the next gen car, because in the limited races he started, he hasn't really lit the world on fire. And, you know, he was going to run the Watkins Glen race, and that was going to be really telling, because then he had taken off. He was already dominating the Xfinity Series. So it was going to be really interesting to see how he could run in comparison to SVG. You know, he ended up falling out of his truck and breaking his collarbone, and the rest is history. Ended up missing that Cup date. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that, Doodlebug. We've been, you know, kind of kicking around the idea of doing some off-season content, which would be really cool, because you know, the off-season, it is, you know, a quieter time for the sport, but there's just not a lot of NASCAR content in the off-season, which is a shame, especially now that there's no speed weeks. They don't do like a year in review thing anymore. The awards ceremony's not as big as it used to be, so maybe we can pick up the slack a bit. I think that'd be really fun. You're gonna do a stream for the voices you do? You definitely should. Yeah, you can stream through any platform. You can go live through Facebook. You can go live on Twitter, on Instagram. You know, you don't have to just do YouTube, but yeah, you can You could go live today if you wanted. To answer my question about Raja on Xfinity, it sounds 99% he's running the full season. Yeah, that was the plan for Raja, to maybe run between 2 to possibly even 3 teams. 17 races in the 88 and 16 in the 32. That's interesting. Yeah, no Speed Weeks, Race Hub, Trackside Live's gone, NASCAR Race Day's gone. It's a shame. Thankfully, I think it's Marcus Smith with SMI. He's been doing Trackside Live at the track. It's not televised, but it's only at his tracks. I want Trackside Live and NASCAR Race Day at every track all season long, because at the track, it was like a college game day experience, being around hundreds of people all shouting and cheering with signs, and it was just such a great experience back in the day. And maybe it's something Prime could bring back. Prime did such a good job this year. A stream with Dr. Derb, Azitronics, Michael, Caleb, Murph, and Real Radman. That would be, yeah. I'm not in their zip code in terms of quality and size, but we'll keep grinding away at it. You know, we've been doing this for like 14 years now, so we'll stay with it. I saw, I don't know if you guys have seen this, Radman lost his job. So hopefully he's able to find something else in the Charlotte area, because he moved away. I forget where he used to live, but I think Florida maybe. But he moved up to Charlotte, I believe, to work for NASCAR, and they got rid of his position. They fired a lot of people, and not the ones they needed to. Brent Cruz broken axle. Yeah, it looked pretty rough. Yeah, I'm hoping Radman can find something. He wants to stay in the industry. Guys like Radman, Michael, you know, Murph, a lot of these bigger NASCAR accounts, and even the smaller ones, they kept the community going. You know, during the long break between Heat 5 and NASCAR 25 coming out, and playing a bunch of modded versions of the games, going back and playing a lot of the old games. It was huge. So I'll always appreciate everyone that contributed to keeping NASCAR gaming alive while we didn't have, you know, a great community, or not a great community, a great game. We have a great community. I'm reading text right now. I'm sorry. $23 laps to go. Time is running out. You think he'd do well as a pit crew coach? It could be interesting. Radman could definitely jump on with the NASCAR team. You're going to say he was doing social media stuff? I believe so. I believe so. It's just the thing with NASCAR, and really in working in sports in general, is everyone wants to do it, but only a certain amount of people get to. If I ever end up out there in North Carolina, I want to go work for Hendrick. I'll work cybersecurity. I'll be a system administrator. I'll be IT support. I don't care. Just put me in, coach. I want to work on Jeff Gordon's computer. Rife is 9th. Well, 11th now. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna win this one, but very impressive. Your CNC, you could definitely, yeah, you definitely could. Especially if they ever go back to a steel-bodied truck. Or, you know, at least go back to a truck that the teams actually build instead of just purchasing the parts from a third-party supplier that NASCAR approves. CNC is a great skill to have. Currently, so far, Eric's truck finish prediction is currently spot on. That's crazy. It's bold. It's bold to make a prediction and, you know, stand by it. So, great job to Eric so far. Crazy rigs. So, this is what I was worried about. Lane Riggs winning is a real issue because if he wins, you know, one single point would have put Riggs above the cut line. And so 1 point is what would decide this championship. In theory, Lane Riggs could have won the championship. And getting eliminated last week to Caden Honeycutt, a guy with 0 wins. That's what did it in. You met Cole Butcher at this year's Winchester 400. Dude, it is so cool going to local tracks because a lot of times you actually do get to meet the drivers. Little autograph sessions. You might see them at whatever little merch stand they have set up. Local racing is extremely fun. Sadly, it's not very large where I'm at. I'm kind of in a not a great location. If you go south 2 hours, it's huge. If you go north 2 hours, it's huge. Right where I'm at, we have like one local paved quarter mile, which is still fun to go to. It's high banked. Seats a good amount of people, but and then we have a couple drag strips, but that's it. You knew Cole back when you ran the Bandoleros. It's really neat. We did have an 8th mile, I believe, little short track, a flat one for go-karts, like the actual league racing go-karts. But the city owned that land and was leasing it to them for like $800 a year or something. And the city demanded the lease back. They're not re-upping it for next year. So that may be curtains for our local go-kart racing scene, which would be a shame because the closest ones to us outside of this one in town are like 3-4 hours away. So those kids that ran every week up here in their go-karts are now going to have to give it up or drive, you know, half a day to get to another track. Freddie Bacon's another nice driver to meet. Met him at Circle City Raceway dirt track in Indianapolis. Indy's such a great area for racing. Like, you know, California has a pretty big racing scene, and then it's North Carolina and really anywhere on the East Coast, the southern East Coast, but specifically North Carolina and then Indianapolis. Great racing scenes. From what I know, though, the California racing scene has been, you know, kind of struggling. A lot of their local short tracks have closed. And then Auto Club, gone. It's just there's so much to do out there. On the West Coast in terms of extreme sports. It's not really a main focus. Then he jumped to Pro Lates, became quite cocky and didn't have many fans up this way. That happens sometimes. Yeah, Irwindale. Yeah, exactly, Jason. That's, you know, one of them I was thinking of. They would rather build 12 towns than racetracks. Yeah. Yeah. Even though they already have too many people. They have so many people and they're constantly running out of water. It's crazy. I was actually invited out to LA to tour YouTube's office. It might have been this week. I forget when it was supposed to be, but I was invited out. but I don't live nearby. That's a pretty big problem. And so I didn't go, obviously. So that was disappointing. And also they weren't going to pay for my flight. So that was an issue. But I mean, I would have been able to tour the office. That would have been nice. But anyway, what I was trying to say, I would like to go to LA. There's some, like, you know, historic areas around there. It would be nice to see. Pretty neat. But, and it would just be cool to stop by. I've driven through there, but I didn't stop in LA. And one of the reasons it's hard for me to go visit is I would have to get my own rental car. Then I would have to find parking everywhere I go, this and that. Unlike when you go to a city with a large metro area, Chicago or New York, you get there and you just take public transit if you need it. You take an Uber. LA is so spread out. It's not actually one, you know, huge downtown. It's very split up, multiple areas. And so, you know, I'm just not in love with the idea of visiting LA, especially not right now. But hopefully, they said maybe they're going to do a tour of the YouTube campus in Atlanta. And if they do that, then I might get an invite out there. That'd be cool. 6 to go. Lane Riggs still out front. Corey Heim with a comfortable about 1.2 seconds ahead of Ty Majeski. Caden Honeycutt third. Tyler Ankrum, bestie's run today, up to 9th. The laps are winding down. California isn't even a state to me after Irwindale and Fontana. Uncle Gary, that died almost 3 years ago, used to call you the modern day Donald Davison. Biggest thing about California is they have ridiculous emission regulations. That's correct. You missed the old Toyota All-Star Showdown at Irwindale. Oh my goodness. 81 is smoking. It looks like a right front. Maybe not an engine issue, but it is a weird color of smoke. It's not smoking now. It looks like a rub. We stay green. That was close. Yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, I was thinking about that before the race. If Lane Riggs won. Oh my goodness, caution is out. Caution is out. Oh my goodness. It's the Truck Series curse. It happened. It happened. I need to order a pizza. There's no way. Oh, the 81 tire went down, I guess. That's... Oh my goodness. If you're Lane Riggs, you're ticked off. If you're Corey Heim, you're ticked off. Dude, Corey Heim is seriously about to lose this championship. This is crazy. All right, 2 tires for Ty Majeski. Tyler Ankrum down. Trying to order this pizza real quick. Caden Honeycutt on pit road. Corey Heim on pit road. Corey's taking 4. Oh my goodness. He's going to lose position. Corey Heim just lost this championship. Corey Heim just lost the championship. It's over. I mean, we could get a rash of cautions. It has happened before. It's not decidedly over, but it is not looking good. I can't believe it. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. There we go. Got the pizza. Pizza secured. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of, Doodlebug. 2023. It's a possibility. We could get a rash of cautions, especially with how they go 3 and 4 wide. But they only have to make it a couple laps. You know, they make it 1 lap. The next flag ends the race. We're done. Yeah, Corey Heim is about to die for our playoff format. He's going to be the sacrificial lamb. Jason said 2 are better than 4. In this situation, just for track position, yes. This just became a track position race. Heim lost so many positions. There's no way he gains, you know, or passes 8 cars in a couple laps. Why would you take 4 with 2 laps to go? Yeah. Especially, okay, so that actually kind of makes me mad. The point you just brought up. Heim is further up the track, so the guys behind him are pitting before him. So the spotter, a team member, somebody can go look at the other cars and be like, "Oh, they're taking 2." Last second, if you see the guys behind you are taking 2, most of the field is taking 2, they call an audible. We're putting 2 on. That's it. Go back out there. So they had an opportunity to last second call a 2-tire audible, and they didn't. So if they lose the championship, that crew chief is going to have some, you know, very, very pointed questions Monday morning. That is insane. Heim, like, he could try to take the outside here and carry a ton of speed off of, I guess, turn 4, you know, after the restart. Could try to carry a ton of speed down the front stretch. Or he could go to the inside, try to use those fresh tires. But the problem with going to the inside is you're not able to get a good run off the corner. So long term, I don't know if it's the best move. Maybe he needs to just split the difference, run about a middle groove. We'll see. Cole Butcher gets the win. It's a possibility. It would require, you know, a few things to happen here. I think Ty Majeski's going to try to take on 3 wide here immediately. Exactly, AA. It's just, it's such a wide track. And Ty Majeski and Raja are probably going to be a lot faster. So they may go 3-4 wide here at the front of the pack. Raja dive bombing, Ty Majeski going to the high side maybe, or maybe diamonds it. We'll find out what happens here. We'll just let it play out. The Toyota Supra has pulled off the track. This could be our final restart, our final laps of the 2025 Craftsman Truck Series. Ty Majeski in the position to win right now. Caden Honeycutt only 1 row back. Is Honeycutt willing to maybe move Majeski out of the way? And can he get there? Right now, he's right behind the 98. He has to stay with him. Remember, this is a one-lap deal. It comes down to the last lap. We are 5 wide. At the front of the pack, 6 wide. No, we were 7 wide, I think. Corey Heim back to the inside, slotting in behind Ty Majeski. With 1 lap to go. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, luckily NASCAR threw the caution there. Our season almost ended on a caution. We have another caution, guys. Brandon Finger around. We have a few cars around. 1 leaking fluid. This is going to be an extended cleanup. Cole Butcher. We did crash again, Christian. You called it. Corey Heim absolutely shooting his way back up through the field. The top 3, now all playoff drivers. Even if Corey Heim is able to get the lead on this next restart, he's going to have to watch out for these dive bombs. These guys driving crazy on old tires. I think they were 7 wide at the front of the pack. Oh my goodness. So let's watch Corey Heim on this restart. Let's see. Hanging back a little bit, and he ended up running low, got a little stuck down towards the bottom. It worked out perfectly for him. He wrapped the bottom and almost got away with the lead. 7 wide. Yeah, 2023 again. I remember that one. It worked out perfectly. If it had run, let's say 2-3 wide at the front of the field, even 4 wide, he wouldn't have made it. But they ran 7 wide, and so he was able to go from being, 6 rows back or something, he's pretty deep in the field, to suddenly being 1 row back and was able to make that move. It worked out perfectly for Corey Heim. Perfectly. That's rough. Just a racing deal there. Just a racing deal. Tyler Ankrum involved. One of our final 4 drivers. Grant Enfinger. Not like Tyler Ankrum was a threat to win anyway. 2023. Yeah. The problem isn't because they were 4 wide. No, it's all Cole Butcher's fault. 4 wide racing for 2 grooves, if not 1. 7 wide. About the only other place it's possible that they used to run that wide would have been like Auto Club. Texas is pretty wide, but they don't use the whole track. They only run about 2 lanes, maybe 2.5 at the most. Dude, the patience from Corey Heim there to roll the corner, got in there at the perfect pace. He didn't overbreak it. That was incredible. What are these guys willing to do? Is Caden Honeycutt willing to send it in there 3 wide and take these 2 guys out? Let's say they all get together. Tyler Ankrum, your 2025 champion. I was devastated for Corey Heim, but, he drove that perfectly. And on top of that, having the fresher tires, he's in a pretty good place here. Their crew chief just saying, oh, it's Scott Zipadelli. Wow. But he's saying, I don't know why you wouldn't put on 4. Well, because the rest of the field took 2. And if they hadn't have stacked up behind 2 guys with no tires, there's no shot you make it back to the lead without a caution there. Now, with the caution, with them going 7 wide, he looks like a genius. Dr. Derp says, kind of rooting for Honeycutt. I wouldn't mind seeing him run well. I don't know much about him as a person. I've seen some people that really don't like him, and I've seen people that do like him. It also would be wild to see a guy that hadn't won the season, throughout the season, to get the very last race. 62 be full-time next year for Friesen. That feels more like a full-time. If it's going to be, I mean, that seems more like a full-time driver. If it's going to be raced every, for the whole season. So I'm trying to say. But, and it's a big but, if there's another team involved, like a Cup Series team involved, then it might be an all-star car. And maybe they'll just like work on developing different drivers. So if there's outside money coming in, maybe it could be all-star. But, if it's just for, his team, I'm not sure why you would do an all-star ride. Unless he's thinking about not going, or not racing full-time next year. Maybe he's had second thoughts and maybe he has a different plan. I don't know. I hope nothing changes there. I like Stewart. I think that team works pretty hard. His wife knows how to drive a little bit too. I think she like flipped at Eldora, or at least got on her side. Pretty crazy. Corey Heim to the 62. Never know. Never know. I'm saying if I was a manufacturer and I had an open seat on any of my teams in the top 3 series, I would bend over backwards. I would snap my spinal cord. I would sever my carotid artery to get Corey Heim on my team. You gotta go where the ride is open. Or you might end up like Corey LaJoie, missing half the season and then settling for a lower series ride anyway. Yes, Jessica Friesen. Yes. I didn't know it was one of his exes. Still got a chance for an Ankrum championship. I'm holding on the hope. Let's see if we have any replay of that incident. And then I'm going to step away for a second. We don't have a replay yet of the accident, but I will leave you guys with this image. All right, here we go. Position by attrition. That's right. That's a good saying. I like the sound of that. Position by attrition. Yeah, it seemed like a, a Hail Mary. Once you lose the lead on a no tire strategy, you have to pit. So here's our last restart. So them going, this wide just directly benefited Heim, and he made the most of it. Absolutely killed this run to the front. Whew. NASCAR threw that caution fast. Thank goodness, because I was about to be heartbroken if the season ended under commercial. Not commercial, under caution. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that on Fox. The season ending under commercial, but no. Ending under caution. All right, we're about to get back underway. Potentially for the last time this season. Christian said Nathan Bird's running 15th. Pretty good run. Frankie Muniz 18th. How about that? I expect nothing less from Fox. I wouldn't doubt on the last lap the coverage just cuts out completely. We have a bent carrot commercial. All right, on the restart, time to just get up top. Corey, I'm down low. I'm battling back on the inside. I'm riding him pretty close. Up the track, Corey Heim back to the lead. It looks like, maybe too early to say this, it looks like we're going to make it back around clean. And we do. White flag is out. Corey Heim out front by a wide margin. 3 of our playoff drivers, 1, 2, 3, they brought their best, but Corey Heim was better. The deserving driver won it today. Corey Heim will win the Craftsman 150 and the championship at Phoenix. Congratulations to Corey Heim. Ty Majeski finishing second. Caden Honeycutt third. Lane Riggs fourth. That should have been our final 4 right there. That should have been it. Without that late race caution, Lane Riggs wins the race. And Corey Heim still wins the championship. It would have been a perfect finish. But, this is how it happened. Heim getting another win. What a fantastic season for Corey Heim. Historic. It might be a while before we see another run that good. That's going to be a borderline impossible to top there. 12. He already had 11, I think. Won almost half the races on the schedule. Good heavens. Yeah. Gets the championship and still not a full-time ride. There's a limited amount of rides. That's how it happens sometimes. Noah Gragson used to light the world on fire in Xfinity, and he had to wait several years to move up to Cup. And then when he did, it didn't go well, so maybe it was worth it, but what a crazy year for our Craftsman Truck Series. Well, the deserving guy won it. Yep. Corey Heim walks away with it. I'm proud of our guys towards the front. Ty, Caden Honeycutt, not wrecking someone to win. Thank you, Double A. I had to dig deep for that one. Yeah, Gragson was an Xfinity star. Even though he vomited every week. It was pretty awesome. The 2 of Clayton Green finished 20th. And Frankie Muniz top 20, finishing 19th. Good rebound after breaking his wrist. Dr. Derp, it was good seeing you. Hope you have a happy Halloween. Nice to have you guys here with me. We will be back tomorrow for the Xfinity race, and then we're planning on doing the Cup race for Sunday as well. So, a couple more days in our NASCAR season. Thank you guys for joining me. If you're new here and you'd like to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We will be live tomorrow and for the Cup race on Sunday and for our Cup post-race show. But this time we're going to be doing not just a race, review and recap. We're going to recap our whole season. Go back over everything, talk about the year, and say goodbye to the 2025 series. Rife got a 9th, Bird 15th, Boyd 17th, Van Alst 18th. Yeah, Van Alst, it'll be interesting to watch him develop. He's had some good runs this year. All right, Jason, we'll be looking for you. And I hope it's a good one. Hope it's a good one. Yeah, a big old post race, or year ender. If it was a TV show, this weekend would be the finale. But, we'll have to wait till February to get things back going full swing. We'll still be streaming, every week. We'll be streaming, most every day. Playing some kind of game, maybe uploading some other types of videos. But yeah, we're gonna keep the content going. But our NASCAR coverage, as far as the races go, that'll kind of stop for a while. Maybe we'll go back live for the Rolex 24. That'd be wild to try to do a 24-hour stream. That's if I'm not there. Maybe I'll sneak down there and do it. You got one more day off work left. Amazon can't run. Can't run without you guys. They do so much business. Saw an Amazon plane the other day. It was crazy. Got Amazon vans. Got Amazon people on bikes delivering packages. The postal service runs constantly for Amazon. Oh, one more day of work. Yeah, that makes sense. I understood what you were trying to say. I understood. We were connected there. But yeah. Hope to see you Sunday and maybe hear from you in that post race. Christian said he made it the whole 24 hours for the last 4 years. I usually make it through most of it. I don't think I've ever watched the whole thing. I usually fall asleep around 4 or 5 and then get a few hours of sleep and then get back up to watch the last 2-3 hours. Jack Wood got 10th. That's a good finish. Yeah, it's crazy, Riggs, 4th. He should have been in the Final Four, and he finished up there with the guys that did finish in the Final Four, so definitely one of the deserving guys. Rajah barely missing the round of 4 as well. Finished 5th, so good year. It'd be exciting to see him next year in Xfinity. Yes, sir, Jason. Yes, sir. Chandler said Majeski was called the champion. Did someone say that? Heim, Riggs, Majeski, and Rajah would have been a great Final Four. Yeah. I mean, Honeycutt, he finished, 3rd? So, he held up his end of the bargain, but no wins on the year. Yeah, Heim taking the championship. In the full season points, he would have had it locked up already. But even in this playoff format, he ended up taking the win. That's all that matters. In my 35-1 playoff format, he would have won the championship as well. So in a way, that validates my 35-1 format. What are you watching? Like, where are you seeing that? Are you seeing that on the... Oh my goodness. Okay. I see what you're saying, Christian. It's on the NASCAR app. It says Corey Heim wins by 0.605 seconds over Ty Majeski and takes the championship. So that's what it's saying. I see it now. Confusing, but no, they're saying Heim got it. So he won over him by that much, and also won the championship. A dog likes Cowboys. Can you tell me something? If you want. Dawson Cram going to win the Xfinity race tomorrow. Guaranteed. No, actually, Cody Ware might do it. Yeah, it's kind of a somewhat confusing way they phrased it. They said Corey Heim wins by 0.605 seconds over Ty Majeski and takes the championship. So I see how that could be misunderstood. Yeah, very close. See if we have anything else to look at here. I wouldn't mind looking at Corey Heim's stats real quick on the season. I want to look at Corey Heim's stats if we can. All right. Have this pulled up on Racing Reference. Zoom in a bit. So Daytona, finishing first, getting the win. In Atlanta, finishing 23rd. That is worst finish of the year. Tied for it, perhaps. Las Vegas gets the win as well. Homestead, starting first, finished third. So still top 5. Martinsville, top 10. Bristol, a top 5. Rockingham, 8th. Not too bad. Fort Worth, so I guess Texas, he gets a win. Kansas, 3rd. North Wilkesboro, 17th. Charlotte, 1st. Nashville, 2nd. 18th in Michigan, 23rd. Tied for his worst so far, at least. Lime Rock started first, finished first. IRP started first, finished 3rd, so another top 5. Watkins Glen, 1st and 1st. Richmond, 1st and 1st. Darlington started 3rd, finished 1st. Bristol started 2nd, finished 3rd. New Hampshire, 1st and 1st. Charlotte Roval, 1st and 1st. Talladega started 3rd, finished 2nd. Arguably one of the more impressive finishes, in my opinion, because it's such a luck-based race, and he still had a good one. Martinsville started 4th, finished 1st, and then today started 6th or 7th? I think 7th, and finished 1st. What a year. So this is before this race. So this doesn't reflect this race. 24 starts, 3,781 laps of 3,785 laps. So only missed 4 laps of the whole season. 1,500 laps led. Not half, but not far off. That's like, 40% of the laps he led this year. 11 wins, ended up with 12. Top 5's 18. 75% top 5 rate. And then one more for that as well. Top 10, 20. So he's going to end up with 21. So he'll have over 83% top 10 rate. Average start, 4.1. Average finish. This might be a record-breaking stat. It's up there. Average finish, 5.2 for the year. DNFs. This is... this is a super impressive stat. 5.2 for average finish. But DNF, 0. Only missing 4 laps off the year. This stat line... I was wondering about this earlier before the race. What a season for Corey Heim. We might see a season like this in our lifetime, especially with how not competitive the Truck Series is getting. It's starting to look more and more like ARCA. But golly, it may be a while. Dog Alex Kubish says he was himself for Halloween, but your dog was your dog, and your older sister was Batgirl. Your other sister was a cheerleader, you believe, and youngest sister was a witch. And your older brother was, you don't know. That's a big group of people out trick-or-treating. Good job. Hope you guys had fun. Got plenty of candy. Christian said he has a wild prediction. Chevy's going to win the Xfinity Championship. I think that's a pretty good guess. What a season overall by Corey Heim. Take a look at this. Yeah, I mean, running every single time. Laps. So at Atlanta, he was 3 laps down. And what's the other race he finished a lap down? When did he do that? Oh, there it is. Rockingham, 1 lap down. Only 2 times he finished off the lead lap. One was a plate style track and the other one was a brand new track at Rockingham, and he still finished 8th. So, I mean, it's not like it was a bad race. What a year for Corey Heim. We're not going to see something like that again without, you know, if the truck series falls off, maybe we do. Maybe, you know, they'll only have 1 or 2 competitive trucks. But even if we do see one like that where they just go on a tear, I don't know if we'll see stats like this with the top 5s, the top 10s, the average finish. Insane. Corey Heim did the 6-7 move on Honeycutt. A lot of NASCAR guys have embraced the 6-7 meme. It's funny to see. Well, congratulations to Corey Heim. Guys, I'm going to step away. I'm going to go eat my pizza. It's probably already here. No, it's not here yet. 9:45 is when it's going to get here. I'm going to go watch a scary movie. I'm going to go spend some time with my wife if she's, you know, staying awake. Hope she does. And other than that, hope you guys have a good one. We will be back live tomorrow for the Xfinity race. We'll be live for the Cup Series race on Sunday and our post race, which we previously mentioned. So that should be fun. And we might be live in between that. Maybe do some more NASCAR, maybe some point tomorrow. But I will still be watching football. So it's up in the air whether we'll do that. And maybe possibly later tonight I might do some other kind of stream. So we'll see that. Chandler says Heim is no racer, literally. A dog likes Kubish just said AZ. Christian said watch Taylor Reimer win the ARCA West race tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. It should be an interesting day. All right. Give you guys 30 seconds. If you guys have anything to say, share it now. If not, we will wrap things up and go live tomorrow. Matthew said Connor Zilch wins tomorrow. Hamlin gets it done because of the passing of his dad. Yeah. Yeah, that's those are probably two pretty good picks. Yeah, his dad's not in the best condition. So, you know, I could definitely see Denny doing everything he can to get that championship, and it seems like it's really important for him. But, I mean, any of the final 4 guys, I would be okay taking it. Briscoe has had a great year. He's definitely come on strong towards the end of it. Phoenix is one of his best tracks. Kyle's done it before at Phoenix. And Byron just started off the year strong. Had a slow summer. But we'll see if he can get it done. We'll see who gets it done on Sunday. Chandler said, watch you lose Xfinity at Atlanta. You're P1. And watch Grand Pass. Yeah, Atlanta's hard. Atlanta's really hard. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to wrap things up here. But thank you guys for joining me. Chandler, Christian, Matthew there. Doug Lux, Kyle Busch. Double A was in here. Michael Turner, Jason Switzer, Dr. Derp was in here, Doodlebug, Justin 87, BNDR, still not sure how that's pronounced, but yeah, good to see him in here. Skitch and Stars and Bars. I'm sure I missed somebody, but thank you guys, and thank you for all the lurkers. Almost 2,300 people in here throughout the stream. It's a really good stream, and hope to see you guys whenever we go live next. But look for us definitely tomorrow during the Xfinity Championship race.